Welcome to the e-learning course of I Ask from Kőszeg. With me, Ágnes Lepold. We are going to prepare for the speaking exams in English. I am an English teacher at the Jurisich Miklós Secondary School in Kőszeg, and I make my students speak English, of course. And they've made some memes to have fun with learning English, so I'd like to encourage you to join us. Here's another meme that one of my students made about memeing while learning English. Magyarul folytatom, a szóbeli érettségi témaköröket dolgozzuk fel ezekben a videós anyagokban középszinten, amit O-level-lel fogok jelezni majd, és emelt szinten, amit A-level-ként fogok megnevezni majd. Erre majd légy szíves figyelj, hogy melyik szintre készülsz, és azokat a feladatokat különös figyelemmel kövesd. Én magam is vizsgáztatok mind a két szinten már évek óta, és készítek fel diákokat ezekre a szintekre, úgyhogy úgy gondolom, hogy ha velem tartasz, akkor a szóbelire való felkészülésedben nagyon sokat fogok tudni neked segíteni. A szóbeli vizsgákon a következő feladatokkal találkozhatsz. O-level, tehát középszinten vagyunk, egy bevezető beszélgetés, utána egy szituációs feladat eljátszása, és végül egy kép alapján önálló témakifejtés. Emelt szinten szintén egy beszélgetéssel kezdődik, utána egy vita feladat van, debate, vita, ahol valamelyik álláspontot kell védened, amit te választasz, és végül itt is van egy kép alapján témakifejtés. So, let's speak English. This is one of the memes that my students made. What do you think the topic is going to be today? Which exam topic does this meme fit? Well, of course, it's going to be personal matters and the family. Welcome to the family. Now let's see what topics are involved at O-level. Talking about yourself, introducing yourself. Turning points, events in your life, the most important events in your life. Family members and the relationships. Family life. Everyday routines of the family and the household. Personal plans, your personal plans for the future. Now let's see the topics at A-level. Of course, the same topics as O-level, but at a higher level of English. Plus, the role of the family in the life of people and in society. Sharing duties in the family. Roles in the family. Generations living together, the generation gap. And now, let's see some interview questions. How about O-level? These are some of the interview questions that you could get. Of course, I cannot include all the questions that you can get, but they will be around these topics. So, for example, tell me about yourself. What are your plans for the future? Tell me about your family. How often do you see your relatives? What do you do together? How do you share the housework in your family? And now, let's demonstrate an interview with one of my students, Annette, who is from my school, the Jurisich Miklós Secondary Grammar School in Kőszeg. So, Annette, tell me about yourself and your family.
So, I'm an only child. I live with my parents only. I don't really like being an only child because it's sometimes boring to be alone all the time. But when I'm really bored, I try to go for a walk with my family or play cards or something like that.
And who are
I
the
have just one grandmother.
Yes.
Sorry?
Who are the family members that you live together with?
I just live with my mother and my father.
How about your grandparents?
I used to live with my grandfather as well, but sadly he had passed away a long time ago. My grandmother from my father's side lives about 22 kilometers away from us.
And how
And I
often
don't
can
live
you see
anymore.
her? How often can you see her?
I used to go to them every weekend.
And
But
now?
now, because of the coronavirus, I don't really get to see them as much.
How do you keep in touch?
I call her on the phone to talk for a little bit. She don't really have an ability to make a video call. That's a little bit a sad situation, but I like to talk to her on the phone.
Yes, I see. Okay, now let's talk about housework in the family. How do you share the housework at home?
I like helping my parents in everything. For example, tidying up rooms or cooking. I just started cooking maybe a month ago to get used to it for college. And for now, my family really likes it, so I'm happy
Great.
for that. But I help gardening as well for my parents, and everything they do, I help if they want me to.
And how do your parents share the housework around the house?
My father is cooking. He's better at that, and my mom is always organizing the house and keeping it tidy.
Yeah. Okay, all right, thank you very much. Okay, now let's see some expressions that you could use when talking about yourself. Try to make some sentences with these expressions, and this will help you prepare for this topic. Well, I was born in... I'm originally from this or that place, but I grew up in... Currently, I'm studying or working. I work for as a something. When I was younger, I'm pretty interested in, I love, I enjoy doing something. I'm hoping to do something in the future. I'm thinking about doing something in the future. I'd also like to do something in the future. Now, how about some expressions when you talk about your family? I come from a big or a small family. There are how many people in my family? I have, and you can talk about your relatives here. I have a brother who is 19 years old, and so on and so on. I'm an only child, or the youngest in the family, a middle child. My immediate family, so the closest family. In my extended family means more relatives, uncles, aunts, cousins, and so on. Relatives I don't see often. I'm very close to my family. Okay, and of course, practice makes perfect. So practice these expressions to prepare for the interview questions. Now let's go on to the A-level interview. You could get questions like this. How has family life changed in the past decades? Can a woman be a mother, a wife, and a career woman in one person? What is an ideal husband or wife like? What other alternatives are there to marriage? What are the most common problems in family life? Why do you think the number of people living alone is on the rise? Some more questions that you could get. What are the advantages and disadvantages of being an only child? Are you in favor of small or large families? Is there an ideal age to have a baby? What are the most important aspects of bringing up a child? What problems do teenagers have? Of course, I can't give you all the questions that you can get in the exam, but at least give you some examples and questions which are more or less the kind of questions that you could get in the exam. For example, what are the advantages and disadvantages of different generations living together? What is your relationship with your parents like? What do parents and children argue about? Are parents too permissive nowadays? Why do parents treat boys and girls differently? Okay, and now I'd like to demonstrate to you what to say when you get the question, are parents too permissive nowadays? So I'm going to give you a sample answer. Of course, it's going to be an interview at the exam, but I don't have a partner now at the moment, so I'm going to just present it myself. So, well, yes and no. It depends on the parents. According to psychologists today, it is not the best way to be very strict, to give rules. Instead, parents should talk to their kids and make them understand what is good or bad. I believe it is very difficult to find the balance between being strict and being a modern parent. Sometimes it might be better to teach children rules because these could be really useful. For example, they should be expected to do some housework. If not, then as punishment, the parents might not let them go to the festivals or parties the kids want to. But of course, making kids understand why these rules are essential is a good idea, because if they understand, they will behave accordingly. For example, as a young teenager, I never understood the point of going to bed at 10 the latest. My parents often got very angry with me when I still wanted to play. Now that I have to get up very early every day to commute to school, I see that teaching me this routine was useful. As you can see, I have put some expressions in bold type. These expressions could help you prepare for the exam. Okay, so try to use these expressions when you prepare for a topic like this. Okay, and some more tips to practice speaking. You could record yourself, listen, and then improve it. You can record it again. If possible, you can practice with a partner. How about using a video chat app, for example? Write down your sentences with the expressions that you want to use and then practice them. It gives you a lot of practice in using the expressions that will make your speaking more natural and will take it to a higher level. And of course, you can join our Facebook group to find out more about some practice options. All right, now let's see a situational role play at O level about everyday routines in the family. Here's the situation. Your friend is asking you for help. He or she doesn't get on very well with her parents. They don't let him go to parties. They want him to help with the housework. Give your friend advice. The examiner plays the role of your friend. Now, I'd like to give you some expressions to use when you give advice. This is a typical situation when you have to give advice and use as many different expressions as possible to make your speaking varied. What's the matter? What's the problem? I see, I understand. Yes, I can understand. Well, do you think... I think I can give you some advice. You see, why don't you... How about doing this or that? What about this or that? Maybe you should do this or that, or I don't think you should do this or that. You could. Well, just think it over. After all, also, okay, first I gave you some expressions to ask for the problem, express that you understand what the problem is. This is very important. Then you can explain what you suggest with expressions in the second group, and you can explain why you think these are important. Okay, and I've prepared a sample dialogue for you. On the left, you will see what your friend says, and on the right, you will see what you can answer. So, for example, Louisa, do you have a minute? I have a problem. And then you can say, yes, sure, what's the matter? My parents never let me go to parties. Oh, really? Why? They are always angry when I want to go to a party. They say that I don't help at home, so they won't let me go. I see. And why don't you help at home? Well, I do. I sometimes make my bed and I sometimes make my sandwich for school too. Well, do you think that's enough? Why don't you do so every day? For example, it's your own bed, your own sandwich after all. Yeah, I know, but I don't have enough time in the morning. Well, just think it over. Making your bed takes about 1 minute. Don't tell me you don't have a minute for that in the morning. Well, actually, you're right. And how about making your sandwich the night before? Then you don't have to do that in the morning rush. I see. That's true. Also, I think you could do even more to help your parents. Maybe you should do just one thing every day. Like what? Well, why don't you ask your mum? If you tell her you'd like to help, she'll be happy to give you something to do. You bet. Yes, I know what you mean. But you could also offer to do things like laying or clearing the table or cleaning your room. Yes, that's something she's always telling me to do. You see, it's your own room, your own stuff. How about tidying it yourself? I'm sure you're not happy when other people rearrange or just touch your things. Yeah, that's true. We often argue about that. Yeah, so I think if you make your bed and your sandwich every day, plus tidy your room regularly, you're good. Sure. And do you think they will let me go to parties? Yes, I do. You could even ask them what they expect you to do. They'll see positive change, I'm sure. Yes, thanks. I'll try to do my best. I really want to go to Ed's party next week. No problem. I'm happy I could help. And enjoy the party. Okay, when you practice situations like this, you could also make a dialogue. Maybe not in the same format as I have done, but write it down for yourself, and then you can improve it and practice it. Now let's see some more tips to practice. So, write down your dialogue. Use a lot of different expressions from the list that I've given you. Read it aloud. act it out in different ways. For example, angrily, shyly, lovingly, and so on. You can put any emotion in it just to make fun, just to make it easier to work with this stuff. So have fun. And also, you could use our Facebook site where you can find more options to practice. And also, you can join our meme challenge. Here's a meme that I found on the internet about family life. But I'm sure you could make even better ones, so why not try? Join our meme challenge on our Facebook group. Now let's go on to A-level with the debate topic. The debate statement is, it's better to have a younger sister or brother than an elder one. Now let's see some more statements from earlier exams. Like this one. Everyone should move away from their parents' house at the age of 18. The generation gap is a myth. Women should be paid for the housework they do. Now these are some statements that you could practice, and I will give you some tips how to do it, and also you can watch out for more practice options in our Facebook group. So let's see some tips to prepare for the debate. Choose a statement to practice. Collect ideas on both sides of the argument and write them down. Study the list of expressions for the debate. In an earlier video, I've given you a lot of expressions, and memorize them. Practice debating on your own or with a partner. Use the expressions and your list of arguments. You can record your debate and then listen to the recording and improve it. For example, when you collect the pros and cons for a debate, here's a statement: parents are too permissive with their children nowadays. You could collect for and against arguments. This is an example that my students made, and the list is much longer. I just cut out the first few. So you can have a very long list if you want. And in this way, you can prepare not only for the debate, but if this topic is discussed in an interview or, for example, connected to a picture, you can use what you have collected. And to practice speaking, you can go to Flipgrid, where there are some debate groups, which I started for particular topics. And you can join these debate groups by recording your own opinion. If you click on this green plus button and use your Google account or Microsoft account, you can record yourself and you can add your points. Also, you can watch what others have recorded. Now let's go on to the picture-based talk at O level. This is the third task in the exam. And you can see the pictures here. Look at the pictures of a big and a small family. Compare and contrast them. Now, let's see some questions that might be connected to this picture-based talk. Do you have any brothers and sisters? What are the advantages and disadvantages of having brothers and or sisters? What are the advantages and disadvantages of being an only child? At what age did your parents have their first child? How many children would you like to have? At what age would you like to start a family, and why? And now, one of my students is going to demonstrate this picture-based talk task. All right, so let's talk about these pictures about big family and small family. What do you think?
Okay. I think living in a big family is better because you can get used to how to make friends in the future and how to be good with people. But sometimes it's a disadvantage as well, because not all the kids get the same attention from their parents, and it's hard for the parents as well, because not every child's needs are the same. They have to make different disciplines for the kids, and it's harder for them to take care of them as well. It's a lot of money. Living in a small family is better because the parents can give more attention to their child, and it's better for the child because she or he can get everything, but it's a disadvantage as well, because then the child can get spoiled, and in the future he will or she will accept the same amount of money that they have, and maybe it will not be the same when they grow up, and then they will be like, why they don't get the same than when they were child.
I see. Mm-hmm. And how many children would you like to have in the future when you start a family?
When I was little, I wanted 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, but I thought about it a lot because it's a lot of money, and maybe if I don't get to achieve my dreams, then I will not be able to take care of them, and I don't want to have children if they can't be in a good place. So now I'm thinking about 1 or 2, but it depends on my future boyfriend, that's what he wants as well.
Of course. Yeah. And at what age do you think you will think about seriously starting a family?
I thought about it a lot because I want to go to a school where I have to study for at least 6 years. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit hard. Until I don't finish school, I can't start a family. So maybe when I will be around 40, I want to have a family and take it serious.
I see. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. So this was an O-level picture-based talk. And now let's go on to A-level. Look at the pictures of generations together, compare and contrast them. I'll give you some time to look at the pictures, but your task is not to describe what you can see in the pictures in detail. No, your task is to talk about the topic. Of course, you can refer to the pictures, but they serve only as a basis for your talk. Okay? Now let's see some points that you could talk about connected to this set of pictures. So talk about in what ways the generations are different. The communication between the elderly and the young family members. What different generations can learn from each other. How different generations can help each other. What problems they may face. And how to solve these problems. So these are some points that you could consider when talking about the picture. Okay, and now I'd like to show you what to find on Facebook if you want to have more practice options. This is my Facebook site where I will post practice options for you, links where you can learn from, speaking practice options, online help, and also the meme challenge will be included in this Facebook group. Thank you very much for your attention. I keep my fingers crossed for you for the exam.